some games, gonna sing, gonna dance, gonna get ready. Kid Harvest. Kid Harvest. Kid Harvest.
What's up, Clubhousers? All right, Miss Katie here, and I am so excited that you decided to join us today for our online experience that we create just for you. Now, as you can tell, we have a very large group behind me. This is some Valor Christian College interns. Yeah, we are pumped and ready to give God some praise, so why don't you get up on your feet and do that with us.
All right, Kid Harvest Clubhouse, are you guys ready to give God some praise this morning? I'm so excited because we are alive, because He is alive. So why don't you get up on your feet with us and give God some praise?
All right, come on, sing it out. So I was lost with a broken heart. You picked me up, now I'm set apart. From the ash I was born again. Forever safe in the Savior's hand. You want more? You want more than the words can say. I'll follow you, Lord, for all my days. Fix my eyes, follow in your ways. Forever free in a empty grave. Now come on, make this real big, say. You are my freedom. We lift you higher. Come on, a little louder. Your love never ends. You ready? Come on, let's go. Scream. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free.
Welcome back, Clubhousers. So today's story is all about Gideon, and the big idea is God can make you brave. Our story today comes from Judges chapter 6 through 8. And I'm going to read this book to you guys today, entitled Gideon, so we can get right on into the story. So here we go. Gideon is cutting wheat when an angel appears to him. "Mighty warrior," says the angel, "God is sending you to save Israel from the Midianites." That night, Gideon secretly destroys an altar to a false god. He builds a new altar to God instead. It is time to prepare for battle. God says Gideon has too many soldiers. Gideon tells them to go home if they are afraid. 22,000 men leave. God says Gideon still has too many men. Gideon must choose only the ones who use their hands to drink water from the stream. Only 300 men remain. Gideon sneaks near the Midianite camp. He hears a man telling his friend about a strange dream. His friend says the dream means Midian will lose the battle. Gideon and his men stand at the edge of the enemy's camp. They blow their horns and break pitchers that hide their torches. "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon," they shout. The enemy is scared and runs away. God's army wins. So you guys, there are so many amazing points in the story of Gideon. And today we're going to dive a little deeper into some of those details because we can really learn a lot from his story. Like I said earlier, the big idea is God can make us brave. And in Gideon's story, there were many opportunities for Gideon to be fearful and be afraid and to give up. But he put his trust and faith in the Lord, and because of that, he conquered his enemies. Welcome back, Clubhousers. So as I said earlier, the story of Gideon has so many different parts and pieces to it that it's going to be hard to dive in to the entire story. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of the important parts that I feel are important to really dive into and get some more information out of. And one of the parts is the first part of his story, when the angel of the Lord came to Gideon. And this is what he said. This is in Judges 6:12. When the angel of the Lord came to Gideon and said, "Mighty hero, the Lord is with you." All right, if an angel came to me and said that, I would have some confidence, right? Wouldn't you? Yeah. I mean, an angel came, said that I was mighty and the Lord was with me. Man, I'm ready to take on my day. But that's not what happened. The first thing Gideon did was question God and basically blame him for his troubles and for his people's problems. Sometimes when bad things are happening, it's easy to point the finger at your neighbor or to put all the blame on God, when in reality, a lot of our problems happen because of the decisions that we make. And Gideon's people turned their backs on God. That's why all of those horrible things were happening. They started worshiping a false god. So I don't know about you, but my Bible says that we should worship the one true God. And when you turn your back on him, why do you think he should help you? It's kind of, right? That's a good question, right? Yeah. So when Gideon was asking the angel that, he was placing blame, pointing the finger, woe is me type of situation. Instead of listening to what the angel of the Lord said, you are mighty, you are strong, I'm gonna give you confidence, the Lord is with you. That's what Gideon was being told, but he started being a negative Nancy. And then what happened, let's see, I have some notes here that I'm gonna look into because you all know Miss Katie can ramble on and on.
Yeah.
So, right, all right? So what happens when we start to complain and whine, that actually separates us from God. He doesn't need to be told how we are or who we are. He already knows us. He knows every thought that we have. So when we start questioning him and doubting him, we're basically telling God, you don't know what you're talking about, God. And that's not the reality of it. If we do what God calls us to do and what he tells us to do, things will change. Transformation can happen. And in Judges 6:14-16, God told Gideon, "I will be with you." And God promised to give him the strength he needed to overcome the enemy. Despite this clear promise and strength that was going to come to him, Gideon still questioned it and doubted it and told God about all of his failures and all of his flaws. He doesn't need reminded of that, guys. All right, he knows who we are, and he knows who we can be if we put our faith and trust in him as well. So that's what we need to do today. Put your faith and trust in God, because when you do that, you can overcome anything that comes at you, including a very strong enemy that Gideon is about to go up against. But we'll go into that in a minute. But first, one of the things that happened in this story that I really, truly love is Gideon asked for a sign from the angel. Like, if this is really the Lord speaking, I need a sign. Okay, that's what he told the angel. So he runs to prepare his offering to the Lord. When he comes back, he puts it down on the rock, and the angel takes his staff and taps it, and it bursts into flame. Now again, if I see a rock burst into flames, I'm like, dang, that's the Lord, all right? And that's kind of what happened for a few minutes. He was like, oh, it really is the Lord. Oh, I'm gonna die, because he thought he was in the presence of the Lord, and the fact that, that was too powerful for me. But the Lord came back and spoke to him and said, no, do not fear, you won't die. And God gave him an instruction next. God always gives you an instruction, and the instruction you choose to obey determines your future that you create, as our pastor always says, okay? So what Gideon does next is he tears down the altar of Baal. So his people have decided to worship a false god. And because of that, things are in shambles. So the Lord told him, tear that down and build an altar unto me instead. So Gideon does it, but he does it in secret, okay? He wasn't fully convinced yet, okay? He was still a little nervous. He wasn't fully, confident. He does it at night because at that time, they all believed that, hey, if you tear down this false god, you're gonna die. It's weird because at that time, they had these false gods, and if you did anything to them, that means you're going against, the government that put those gods up. And if you're going against the government, then you need to die. So Gideon still tore it down. Did it at night in secret, but he did it anyways. And the next day when the people found out that it was him, they came for him. They wanted to kill him. Even though he knew that he could face death, he did it anyways. He stepped out in faith and was like, God, I just witnessed this miracle. You caught that rock on fire in front of my eyes. I know it's you speaking, so I'm gonna do what you have called me to do. He tore it down, built a new altar, and he challenged the people. He challenged them. He said, if you believe that Baal is gonna come and stand up for themselves, then let's do it right now. Call on him. Let's do that. Of course, nothing happened because he's a false god. So then what happens is Gideon gets his people together and he prepares for war. And God is starting to give him the strength that he needs to move forward. And God can do that for you too, guys. All you have to do, like I said earlier, step out in faith and do what he's called you to do. Welcome back. You know what time it is. It's game time. All right, so we are playing an old school game, Duck, Duck, Goose. I totally just dominated, obviously. Josh is standing over here, so he's gonna pick the game right back up. If you don't know how to play, this is how you play. He goes around, duck, duck, duck. When he says goose, that person has to take off running and get back to their spot without getting tagged. All right, so here we go. Y'all ready? Yeah! Josh, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. And go.
Duck.
She's so
Duck.
scared.
Duck. Duck. Goose.
Run, Abrielle! Okay, run, Abrielle! Oh, dang. All right, Josh was a little too fast. Go ahead, Abrielle.
Duck. 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 Duck.
Oh my goodness.
Duck.
Goose. Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. And... Dang. So you're in the middle, Abrielle. All right, so Abrielle lost the round of Duck, Duck, Goose, but that's okay because she has Jesus on the inside. So she is always winning whether or not she won or lost this game. But you know what, Clubhousers? Get some friends together, get your family, play a round of Duck, Duck, Goose. It's super fun, and we'll see you later. But let's keep on going, guys. Come on. All right, welcome back, Clubhousers. That was a very intense game of Duck, Duck, Goose, but a lot of fun, so don't forget to play your own at home. So back into the story of Gideon. So he's getting ready for battle and all of those things. He had already asked God for a sign once, and then he asks God for another sign in Judges 6:36 through 40. Not only does he ask God for one more sign, he actually asks for two in the same time frame, okay? He asks God to make a fleece wet and the land around it dry. So God does it. He's like, God, if that's really you, make this fleece wet and everything around it dry. He gets up in the morning, he can wring a bowl full of water from the fleece. And he's like, you know what? That wasn't enough of a sign for me, Lord. Don't be angry with me. He actually tells the Lord, don't be angry with me, but I need another sign, okay? We're on our third sign now, guys. Gideon needs to get it together, all right? But he asks the Lord, how about this time the fleece is dry and the ground is wet? And the Lord does it. And because of all of that, he's delaying what God has asked him to do. And in that, he's delaying his victory. Sometimes we get so caught up in, I need another sign. Is that really the Lord? I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. If you need to know what the Lord is saying, you need to dive into the Bible because the Bible is the Lord's word and it will give you all the direction that you need. Be confident in what God is telling you and he will give you the strength that you need to do what he's asked you to do. So moving forward, you know, demanding extra signs can be an indication of unbelief. Fear often makes us want more confirmation when we should be taking action. Gideon should have jumped up and went to battle right away, right when the Lord spoke to him and showed him that very first sign. But he needed a little more. He was discouraged. He didn't believe he could do it. You know, he needed a little more confidence, and the Lord gave it to him. Just because he was scared, he didn't take his, assignment away from Gideon. He still wanted him to fulfill it because it was going to be a representation of what we can do when we ask the Lord for help and when we do what he asks us to do. And after seeing yet both of those signs, okay, the wet fleece and the dry fleece, I'm gonna go back a little bit actually, when we do that, when we ask God to conform to what our idea of what God can and could possibly do, we're putting limitations on God. Gideon was putting limitations on God when he said, I need this sign, but do it in this specific way. That means he put God in a box, and he wasn't giving God the opportunity to show Gideon how great and how big he can be. And when we do that, we miss opportunities. Gideon keeps delaying what God had for him. He keeps delaying his people's victory because he wasn't confident. Wow. And remember, right? That hit you differently, didn't it? It did. Don't delay what God has for you because you're afraid. Like I said earlier, God can make you brave. And moving forward into the story, it goes a little deeper. Gideon had, how many men did he have? He had 32,000 men ready to fight. But God told Gideon, that's too many men, because with that many soldiers, your soldiers can take the credit. Look what I did. Look who we defeated. 32,000 is a lot of people. So the Lord took them down to 300 men. 300 men went to face that vast army. That's an impossible situation that they put themselves in. But you know what? Gideon finally wasn't afraid. He finally got to his moment where he was like, you know what? I believe God is going to take care of us. And God wanted to give Gideon a little extra boost of confidence. So after taking his men down to 300, Gideon sneaks into the enemy's camp, and he overhears a soldier telling a story to someone about a dream he had. I'm going to read the notes so I get it correct. It says that, the conversation Gideon overheard was an enemy soldier explaining a dream he had of a barley bread tumbling into camp. Barley is a type of grain used to make bread. And it's kind of like wheat. We all know what wheat bread is. That's what barley is. But barley grain was only half the value of wheat, meaning that barley is not as significant. It has less value. And it's considered inferior. So the soldier then says, well, that can only mean one thing, that the inferior army is going to defeat us. Because he had a vision of this piece of bread tumbling down and destroying the camp, this inferior bread. And he interpreted that as, whoa, this army is going to overtake us. So when Gideon heard that, he was ready. So him and his men went to work, and they blew their horns. And when they did that, the Lord confused their enemy. Gideon and his men didn't even have to raise a sword and fight their own battle. God did it for them because they were willing to go to battle. God confused the enemy. They started killing themselves, and Gideon and his men found victory through the Lord. And because there were only 300 men, and because they started killing themselves, clearly only God could do that. So God, in the end, had the victory. And because Gideon was so willing to do that, he transformed a nation and he brought them back to God. That's what they were missing. They were wasting time worshiping false idols. And because of Gideon's bravery and faithfulness and commitment to God, he brought his people back to where they should be, worshiping the one true God. So do that just like Gideon did. Be brave, step out in faith, and you can do miraculous things. So you guys, remember, be like Gideon, okay? God can make you brave no matter what you're going through. Have faith and he'll do it. We'll see you guys next time. All right, Clubhousers, so today's epic story was all about Gideon and how God can make us brave. I was so excited because today we had such a large group of Valor Christian College interns with us. And you know, when you have that energy around, I kind of tend to, preach a little lengthy, so I'm really sorry about that, but I hope you guys got something out of it. I really enjoy our time together here in our Clubhouse online experience, and I really want you guys to connect with me. Get on Facebook, send me a message, show me things and show me ways that you are allowing God to make you brave. And when you do that, I'm gonna send you your very own superhero cape and mask. So this whole month you can participate with us in all of these epic stories that we will be telling. So until next time, Clubhousers, we'll see you later.